All right, we are live. Welcome, everyone. So I'll start with taking a nice deep breath. Let's breathe in and breathe out. Put your hands over your heart if you like. Sending all of you tons of love. And I want to welcome you to our Inspired Writing interview series. I'm very excited to introduce to you one of my favorite inspired writers. You're all my favorite, but this is Tamar Reno, and she has an extraordinary life with her horses, and I cannot wait to share all that she has to offer us. And I have some surprises at the end for you guys, so make sure you stay and I will tell you what that's all about. So Tamar, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for doing this. I'm really glad to be here. I'm always glad to be in a space with you, whatever that space is.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Give me chills. So do you want to tell us a little bit about you before we get into the questions?
Sure. Well, my name is Tamar and I have a horse. um, and I live in Southeast Florida for the time being, although we're getting ready to relocate to Western North Carolina. And I discovered Beth about 3 years ago now, give or take a couple of weeks. And it has been just an amazing journey.
I'm so glad you found me. That was through listening to the horse, right?
Yeah, that was through listening to the horse.
It's so interesting as I saw a post this morning that it was like 3 years ago, 11 more days till it comes out. So it must have been, in a couple of weeks time, it'll be officially 3 years since you've known about me. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually, discovered a number of people through there, and some of them weren't even the people that I saw in listening to the horse, but were people that were somehow connected to those people. So it was definitely a good intro into several portals.
I love that. And it's so neat when those things just start to come together.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a fun question to start. If I handed you $10 million right now, what would be the first thing you'd do?
Stop working for money.
Right on.
I would still work, but I would choose my work based on joy rather than money. And then, we're going to buy a horse property anyway, and it's going to be amazing, but it could be maybe more amazing. I don't know.
I would think so. Yeah.
and then figure out ways to help people in a way that is, impactful and meaningful.
Beautiful. I love that.
And buy a new sofa.
I think that would be important.
Yeah.
Little redecorating, that will be fun. Right. Oh my gosh. So when did you first begin writing, and what was that experience like for you?
I first started writing as a child, and it was just pure joy. That's all it was. It was pure joy. There was no ego involved. There could be mishaps and they would be funny instead of mortifying. And it was just nothing but joy.
That's awesome. I love it. Are there any life lessons your horses have taught you?
Yes. So I was thinking, I gave this question particular thought because there are so many life lessons that horses have taught me. And I think one of the biggest things that horses have taught me, and it's interesting that we're going to be doing this little surprise later because I didn't know we were going to do that. But I think one of the things that horses have taught me is that horse humanship, which is a phrase I lifted from Nishan Cook, that horse humanship is life work. And that it's really life affirming work. And that if you allow it, it will expand your consciousness and your awareness as a human being. So I think that's sort of the foundational. The other thing, and this is something that Jana talked about, is be present. All horses need you to be present. Some horses will demand you be present.
Yes.
I happen to have one of those horses that absolutely demands that you be present. So there's that. And I think that that's something, again, that carries over into the rest of your life. Being present rather than rushing ahead. I know that I'm often very busy. And so I have a tendency sometimes to be thinking like doing something now, but thinking about what I'm going to be doing next, which means I'm doing both of those things poorly.
Yes, I've been there many times. Yes.
Multitasking basically means doing lots of stuff badly. Whereas if you're really present, then you can give something your full attention, and who knows what will happen. I remember recently hearing about these Buddhist monks, and they were talking about doing very mundane chores such as mopping the floor or washing the dishes, and they talked about washing the dishes with no attachment to finishing washing the dishes, to simply wash the dishes for the process of washing the dishes. And I think if we can translate that into life, that's pretty amazing. And horse humanship does that for us. We have to be grounded in the process. And then I recently had a conversation. We're currently in the market for a new horse. We want to add another horse to our herd. So I've been talking to several different people about different horses. And I had a conversation the other day with this woman. And as she was talking, and she was telling me about all the sort of performance stuff that this horse has done and how now he's doing some other stuff. And I had to really kind of think about what my work with horses is, because it's not that. It's not about performance. It's about relationship. And that kind of led me down the rabbit hole of thinking about relationship and connection. And I have a much more indigenous perspective, which is this idea that horses are our relatives and they're sacred. So whatever you do with them starts from there. Like, that's the foundation. These are our beloved relatives.
I love that so much. And that's definitely how I feel with my guys. Yeah.
And it shows. It absolutely shows with you guys.
Thank you. Well, so this comes to, do you have or have had a heart horse, and what made them special? So I can't wait to hear more about this.
Oh, yes. I think before I got Bo, I didn't even really give much thought to what a heart horse was. But he is absolutely my heart horse. And I think for me, what that means is that really profound connection, where, I can feel his heart connect to my heart, and vice versa. It's not just that I know when something's up with him. He absolutely knows when something's up with me, and he will help me. I remember one time I had wanted to give him a bath, and it was this crazy busy day, and I had been rushing, multitasking, which meant I was doing a whole bunch of stuff badly. And I got to the barn, and it was like the next day it was going to be cold, and it was going to be way too cold to give him a bath. So it was either today's the day, I've got to get this done. And so I get him out, and I take him to the wash station, and I realize that, like, my heart is beating really fast, and my energy is really kind of crazy. And I said to him, I'm going to need your help. I need your help to bring my energy down. And he said, step in close. And so I stepped in close, and he's like, no, closer. So I stepped in really close, and he said, now put your hand on my heart. And I put my hand on his heart, and I could feel it, like traveling up my arm, you know, spreading through my chest. I could feel the muscles in my face relax. Just this sweet, calm energy flooding my whole body. And that's a heart horse right there.
Oh, that got me teary-eyed. That's gorgeous. He's such a special guy. Do you want to share how you met him?
Oh, sure. So I used to ride all the time when I was younger, when I was a kid, and then in my younger years. I had a pretty horrific riding accident that put me in the hospital for quite a while. And so then my life got very busy, and I had children, and I you know, went to school, and I did all this stuff, and I had a career, and I just got really, really busy, and riding kind of took a back burner. But this whole time I carried this fear in my body left over from that riding accident. And my husband, he's amazing. He's the guy that opens doors. And I don't just mean like holds open the car door, like he opens up doors in life. For me and for his loved ones, not just for me, but thankfully for me. So anyway, he decided a few years ago, he decided that he would give me some writing sessions as a birthday present. And I was really excited. And so I ended up going to this barn, and it was just this throwdown kind of dumpy barn. But Bo was there. And Bo, when I first met him, he seemed very shut down to me. He was very skinny. And Bo is an off-track thoroughbred who had been handled very badly his whole life, really, but certainly after the track. And now he was at this horrible place. And he was a racehorse who had never been taught to stop. He had never been taught the cue for stop. And they used him at this barn because he was hot. And so it was exciting, and you could get on him and make him run. And, you know, anyway, so my biggest fear was a horse taking off with me. And here's this racehorse that nobody's ever taught how to stop. But there was this connection there immediately. There was this immediate connection. And it didn't take me very long. And when I say not very long, I mean like less than 5 minutes to understand that this was my horse and it was my job to change his life.
Wow. That's pretty instantaneous. I love it.
Yeah.
And now you described a story about letting him run full out while you're riding him bareback, you mentioned?
Yeah. Oh yeah, in the Bits group, yeah.
That was incredible. Yeah, so you guys have come a long way.
We really have.
Yeah.
We really have.
It's amazing. Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that. Let me see what's the next question for you. What are some of the things you do with your horses, and is it any different than when you got started with riding?
It probably is different just because I was a child when I started riding. So I had a child's list of priorities, which was all about fun.
Yes.
And although I would talk to the horses even then. I remember one of the horses that I learned to ride on was this mare, Dina. And oh my God, Dina and I had such great conversations. And I was so tiny. Oh, I was just this little teeny person. And she was wonderful. But as far as now, I think every session with a horse, whether it's Bo or whether it's another horse, starts with some conversation. It starts with some breath. It starts with some gratitude. It starts with some inquisitiveness. And then we see what unfolds. What does the horse offer? Where's the horse's comfort zone? Where's mine? Do we want to explore something different? So I spend a whole lot of time with horses doing stuff that looks like absolutely nothing. Like if somebody was looking at me and the horse, they would think, oh, she's not doing anything. But we are doing something with a capital S.
I believe it. And that's just such a beautiful way to coexist with them.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So, what's the best piece of advice you are given about horses?
Think about that for a second, because I've been given so much really good advice. I think, one of the things that I've seen in memes and whatever, is come to the barn for the horse. And for me, that means letting go of your agenda, not having an agenda, and seeing what does the horse offer? Because I really think that horses are the teachers here. And if we can tap into that we can help them, but we can also help ourselves. So yeah, come to the barn for the horse.
Love that. That's perfect. So good. Who is your greatest influence when it comes to being a rider?
Wow. And I'm not trying to like kiss up here, but you.
Oh. I was not expecting that.
I mean, definitely. I have this whole thing with inspired writing. I have all the courses. I've taken all the courses and tried to really jump in. I did a post recently in your group where I mentioned that I follow a bunch of different trainers and I'm in a bunch of different horse groups and read various authors. And what I do with most of them is I take the things that suit me and I discard the things that don't. In inspired writing, there isn't anything that doesn't suit me. Now, different people in your programs have different styles of writing, perhaps. Some are dressage writers and some are Western pleasure or barrel racers, and some just like to get on their horse and sort of doddle around. But it's the core principles that are applicable across the board. So there's that. Also, Warwick Schiller. I have followed him pretty intently, and especially in recent years, I think if I had discovered Warwick Schiller, say, 10 years ago, he wouldn't have resonated with me. But he's gone through a real transformation inside of himself that has really carried over into how he approaches his horse human work. Nishan Cook, and I have read everything Mark Rashid wrote. I love Mark Rashid.
You've got great info as well. Totally.
Yeah, and he's another one who has completely shifted. Like his big book that came out, I don't even remember, a long time ago, was Consider the Horse. And he recently reissued that book, and almost after every chapter he would write a disclaimer that says, I do this completely differently now.
Wow, how interesting.
Yeah.
Good for him to make that shift though.
Yeah, and I think that is one of the things about great horse people, is that they do that they are constantly evolving, they are constantly shifting. They're not doing things because, well, that's the way it's always been done. They're always wanting to expand their understanding.
I think it's so important to keep questioning everything and keep experimenting. Like that's the key when it comes to everything in life, especially horses. Yeah. And each horse is so different. So yeah, I love that I'm in that company. So thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share that I did not ask you?
I think I'm okay right now.
Okay.
Good.
Are we ready for our surprise?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what I wanted to tell you guys is For the Brave in the Saddle program, which is now in week 5, we have 12 weeks. Tamar and Bo have contributed a letter from Bo every week. And so I have 12 letters. I release them each week as the program is going on. And what has been beautiful is Bo has requested responses to his letters. So it's turned into this like almost like a Dear Abby column, if you guys remember, but it's Dear Bo. And the students in this course have been asking high quality, deep questions, and he's been responding in such beautiful, profound ways. And it's just blowing me away. I'm getting chills talking about it again. So what I wanted to do is allow Tamar, I will share the screen so you guys can see the pretty version of it. It's going to allow Tamar to read the first letter to give you a sense of it. And then the reason we're doing this is Bo has requested a bigger audience, meaning he would love to respond to your deep, profound, and high quality questions each week. So we're going to create a post every week saying, what is your Dear Bo question? And then he will choose from them and respond. So I'm so excited about this. It's going to be really fun. It'll be experimental, of course, just like everything else. But let me share my screen and I'll show you guys the letter, and then I'll let Tamar take it away and read it.
Okay. Dear ones, you may not know me yet, but you are already showing me how brave you are because you are here. I see you. See me seeing you. Breathe that in slow and deep. Feel my warm horse breath against your face. Exhale it back to me softly, gently. Send it back to me as a gift. As I return the gift, inhale again. Send your breath down. Let it fill your chest, your belly. Wash away the tightness in your lower back, your hips. Send the breath down your legs to your feet. Feel it root you to the ground. As you exhale, release the breath, making room for more. Your breath is light, and your body is the connection between earth and sky. You are the connection between earth and sky, dear ones. Let that settle in and say it again. You are the connection between earth and sky. I am the connection between earth and sky. There, now we can talk. Now we can work because you're here with me. If you feel yourself drifting, come back to my breath. It will keep you rooted, I promise. So now, together, we'll do this life work. That's what horse humanship is, after all. It is life work. It's not life's work. That's something else entirely. This is life-affirming work. This is the stuff of magic, of mystery, of connection. We horses have always known this. We have been here to teach you this since before you had words to talk with, since you thought in images and feel just like us. We've been here all along, patiently and lovingly waiting for you. We are here with you now. I am here with you now. Return to the breath. I am here breathing with you. I am in the pause between inhale and exhale. There is no place I'd rather be. Love and light, Bo.
Thank you so much, Tamar. That was so beautiful.
You're
And
welcome.
every time I read one of those letters, I start to get chills and teary-eyed, and they progress beautifully. So it's so nice to be able to share that with the bigger audience in this group, and then of course with the podcast later. So thank you so much again.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's exciting, and I think one of the things that we talked earlier about, being a heart horse, is that Bo is always a horse that always wants to communicate at the highest possible level. He doesn't make small talk.
That's why I love him so much.
And he's incredibly generous. Like, he's generous and there's no ego. Like, he knows he's wise. He absolutely knows he's wise. But that's just, to him, that's just a fact. It's not an ego thing. So it's pretty amazing. And this journey of being able to hear him and talk with him, that's been a part of the whole inspired writing thing. And we didn't even really have time to get into that, but that's a whole different conversation. But that has been hugely transformative.
I shared the last message he gave me.
Yes.
So
That was something, huh?
Yes, I'm going to see if I can grab it. Here it is. Okay, so Tamar had asked me to tune in with Bo. You guys know I usually refer everyone to Jana now because I'm not doing it as much, but Bo and I have this connection and we can talk just like I talk with Pepper quite easily. So for me, it's a joy. And he always offers me something before I get into what Tamar wants to hear about and confirm, because they have a great relationship too. It's just about confirmations. But I was literally in the shower and I knew my next step after a shower and got dressed was to go and tune in with Bo. I step out of the shower and I hear him whisper a word. And I'm like, what is that? And all I hear is Oshani. And I'm trying to like spell it out in my mind. So I Google it. And then I get this like beautiful picture of this woman. And it says that she's a joyful human. And I'm like, this is really cool. So then I tune in with Bo and he just said, this is a joyful energy. You will do well to tap into it daily. It's good to recognize when you're tired. Take more quiet moments, just like the horses do at any safe and steady moments, places, and times that feel right. Take a deep breath. And then I was able to tune in with him. Now, Tamar, tell me what that name meant to you when I mentioned it to you.
So I get this text from Beth, and she said, does the name Oshni, which is how it's actually pronounced,
right.
Does the name Oshni mean anything to you? And I literally, you can ask my husband, I just had to sit down. Like I literally just dropped and sat down and had goosebumps and I couldn't even really talk for a minute. So if anybody wonders if this stuff is real, yeah, it is. So Oshni was a Salish woman, lived on the Flathead Reservation. She passed in 2009. But when I first moved to the Flathead back in, I don't know, early 90s, I guess, I was just at a place in my life where I really needed some mothering. Like I needed some loving, kind mothering, and I needed a lot of it. And there were a handful of older Indigenous women that did that for me. And Oshni was one of those women. And she had this really joyous energy to her. And she always kind of looked like she was up to something, like she was going to get into something and you want to go. And
you see that glint in her eye when I looked at her video, like, oh
yeah. And she taught me things. She taught me just sort of skills, certain things like hide tanning. She was amazing at tanning hides, and her hides were always just the softest, best quality hides. And so she taught me how to do that and various other things. And she taught a lot of people that. She actually she taught at, there's a tribal college there, and she taught there for, I think, quite a few years. But what she really did was give me this maternal love that I needed so badly at that time in my life. And I cannot think of her without thinking of joy. And
I love it.
So when Bo said that to Beth, I was just blown away because I've never mentioned her to Beth. And honestly, I have never mentioned her to Bo either.
That's incredible. And the fact that he made it sound so I would be able to spell it out, because I would not have understood it if he had said
it was right. Yeah.
I'm like, he's
phonetically. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He's so amazing. And, like one of the questions that was on here was, something new that you've learned, right?
Yes.
And, and we didn't really get to that, and that's okay. But I was thinking about one of the things that I learned was that the Earth rotates around the sun in the form of an ellipse, not in the form of a circle. I always thought it was a circle. My whole life, I thought it was a circle, but it isn't. It's actually stretched into this soft ellipse. And Bo said it's like the shape of a beautiful pregnant belly. And so I learned that from writing, kind of helping Bo write a letter to one of the participants in the Brave in the Saddle course.
Oh, cool.
So I get the info, the stream from Bo. I just call it my horse stream, and I get the stream from Bo and I write it down really fast. And then I thought, I wonder if that's actually true. So I went and looked it up, and sure enough, it is. So this horse is an astronomer as well as
Well, he's tapped into universal knowledge, so it makes sense.
he really has. He really has. It's wild. It's pretty wild.
That's fantastic. I love it. Well, this has gone far too fast, and I really appreciate your time, Tamar. It was lovely to chat with you and share with the group.
Thank you. It was lovely to be here. It's always wonderful to be here with you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I love this group. This group is a soft landing, and that's what people need.
Thank you. I agree. And I'm very careful about, who comes in here and what we present to the world. And it's just so important to keep that safe and sacred space so that we can all feel comfortable and enjoy our time with our horses and the connections we make in here. Totally. Cool. Well, thank you again so much. And remember, everyone, to breathe, pause, breathe, and smile, the PBS, and then really get into appreciation mode. Lead with kindness for yourself and your horse. Thank you again for being here and for listening, and may the horse be with you always.
Bye.